Afghanistan, the graveyard of empires. Well, it used to be. Now it's known for two things: bombs and terrorists. So how did Afghanistan get the title the graveyard of empires, and how did it become a hotbed for war? Well, I'll tell you. After a series of failed rebellions where the Afghans got crushed by the British, they finally gained their independence in 1923. The newly independent Emirate of Afghanistan then became the Kingdom of Afghanistan under this guy, who ruled for 7 years and then was deposed in a civil war after travelling to Europe. He was then succeeded by this guy, who was then killed by an army of his enemies. His enemies being this guy, who succeeded him as King of Afghanistan. And then this happened. After trying to centralize Afghanistan, he was assassinated by a member of one of the minorities he was trying to centralize. Now we have a king, or Shah, that would finally stick around. This guy, Mohammed Zahir Shah. Now it was time for him to modernize Afghanistan. So first he was like, let's build a central bank, some hydropower, and a university. But Afghanistan was still broke. Mostly because Afghanistan couldn't tax anyone because they were so decentralized because of all the mountains in the country. So Zahir took the logical path and just started scamming the two world powers, the Soviet Union and the USA, out of money. But then the people, after getting all this Soviet money, started to believe in Soviet ideals and overthrew the government. And after a few years, Afghanistan went full communist and became a Soviet puppet state. But this time the government went too far and started actually affecting the nomads of Afghanistan, and they didn't really like this whole strong central government thing. So with some US money, the farmers quickly became the Mujahideen fighters and tried to overthrow the government. But the Soviets didn't really like this whole not controlling Afghanistan thing, so in they went. But as fast as they went in, they went out, because they weren't prepared for the terrain or the guerrilla tactics in Afghanistan. So Afghanistan was free again, but it was very unstable and mostly controlled by the militias that had liberated it. The militias that controlled Afghanistan had large regional power and started a cycle of crime and violence in Afghanistan. The central government was extremely weak and held no actual power in Afghanistan, and the militias that liberated Afghanistan soon realized this and started a rebellion against the government when the Islamic Party stormed Kabul and established the Islamic State of Afghanistan. So Afghanistan broke out into total chaos, and groups were fighting against each other everywhere. But soon, a new group appeared in Afghanistan. Funded by Saudi oil money, the Taliban quickly took over Afghanistan, and after just 5 years of rule, this happened. The US blamed this guy, Osama bin Laden. The US's President George W. Bush declared the war on terror, and US troops went to Afghanistan and other countries. After a brutal 20-year conflict between 2001 and 2021, US troops went out of Afghanistan as they realized they clearly couldn't win and US support at home was failing. Just a few months after the US pulled out, the Taliban swept over Afghanistan and quickly took control of the country, and Afghanistan is now under radical extremist Islamic law. And that's where Afghanistan finds itself now.